Whether he was the bumblebee girl or living in that van down by the river. He loved the Bears and did good dance at Chippendales with Swayze. When they replaced his coffee with Folgers, he went fucking crazy. The sexiest Gap girl and Meatloaf in the band. Without him there'd be no lunch lady and lunch lady man. Oh, I'm thinking about my boy Chris Farley.
When you were on Saturday Night Live, you were on the years with Farley.
No. Farley hosted when I was there. Farley came on. Now, at the time, I was in a room with Tracy Morgan.
Tracy Morgan. Now,
yes.
Tracy was on during your years.
Yes, me and him were roommates.
Okay.
Right? And
that must have been weird.
Beyond hilarious, because we were great premise guys, and we would bounce off one another. When Farley comes on, now we're excited. The first thing he does is come in our room. I mean, He came in the first, he's like, Jimmy, I know you got weed, and I know you got, and he shuts the door. So I'm thinking, yeah, I'm going to be in the next movie with him. I'm going to get my one hitter. And
right, let me get him some weed.
So,
you didn't know how serious he was with his problems.
Well, Tracy had this thing, and Tracy takes out, and they're gulping, and one hitter, I got the window. I got such great ideas. He's like, it's got me a great week.
And you were able to provide him with lots of fun.
Correct.
Right. Yeah, so back in the days, what you were doing?
Back in the days,
you were doing coke, you were smoking, you were doing
I was never coke guy. I was a weed guy.
Weed guy, okay.
So I had the weed, and Tracy was a drinker. I don't like weed, make me sleepy. So he had juice, and whatever he put in the juice. And this is when it got weird and creepy. He's in the room, and he's twitching, and he's sweating, and he's standing, and he's like, I want to go. And I'm looking at Tracy, I'm like, that's not from our room, is it?
That's not from the shit we gave him.
I'm like, I'm on the same weed. The weed don't make you that way.
What do you think was going on? Was he withdrawing from something?
Well, all I remember was as soon as it's done, like a child, I went right back to the room, just sat there, pretend I started writing.
And working in your office.
And Marcy Klein, who you don't want to get on the wrong side of her.
She's a big executive at Saturday Night Live.
Big executive. That's enough. She comes in, shuts the door. Pff, what the hell did you two do?
It's your fault.
Instant, nothing. We didn't
do anything.
We didn't do nothing. And she's like, don't give me that. He came in the room, and he says, you two is his friends for the week. I know you guys get... Tracy, I got to give him credit.
Yeah.
I'm scared to death. Tracy's like, I'm a grown man with children. I'm a grown man. I got children. And I'm like, we didn't...
So he's like, not only... He doesn't get defensive. He just gets angry and starts yelling.
You come in here talking to me like I'm a grown man.
He's been through this before.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't listen from you.
Yeah, right. That's the smart way. He got insulted.
He did. He got insulted.
Right. He knows how to really lie.
He had a strategy.
Yeah. So he yelled at Marcy. Don't ever accuse me of that.
I got children. Says it in the Bible.
Meanwhile, you were ready to spill your guts.
I was lying. I was already putting my stuff in. I'm like, go ahead, search. Well, she says, and this is when I knew how serious it was. She said, we have Chris Rock here for the week as a backup to host.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness.
And we have a 24-hour nurse. It was just weird. It was very weird.
Right.
To me, that was then weird. Like, are we really talking about someone's life? Like, we're all worried that he really may die here?
Yeah.
So now, it was the night of writing. All of a sudden, someone, knocks on the window. And I look, and there's this... I had this sick presence of evil. And I wasn't even on weed. This was natural. Something's dark behind there. So like a movie, I open the door, and there's a woman. And she just looks right through me, and she walks past me. And I couldn't move. She walks past me and sits on her couch.
Yeah.
Tracy's looking at her. And then another one comes in. And before I can say anything, Chris comes. Hey, these are my friends. And he plows down a pile on my desk.
Pile of coke. With the two broads.
Yeah, he's like, these are my friends. This is, Bambi and so. And I looked at them, and they're just looking. They were the creepiest things I've ever been in front of, and I'm looking at him, and I freak out. I was so freaked out. I left that week, and I went home. I told my wife, and she's like, he needs a friend, blah, blah, blah. So I kept away, but this was the phone call that freaked me out. Corielli was at my apartment. It was me and my wife, Corielli. It was like a Thursday night, around midnight or so, and I get a call. My wife picks up, and she's like, yeah, hi. Yeah, Chris, he's here. Like, yeah, we got a phone. She's like, it's Farley. I went, Farley? Like, what do you mean it's Farley? She's like, hold on. She hands me the phone, and it's Farley.
Right.
He's like, hey, Jimmy. And I can hear he's got some people in the room.
Right.
And he's going, Jimmy, come on down. We have a great time, and blah, blah, blah. And I said, Chris, it's a long week, and you got a big day. And then he cut the phone. And I'm sure he did this with a million people, but at the time I'm thinking the only one. He goes, Jimmy, am I funny?
Am I funny?
I said, what do you mean? He goes, or am I just a fat, stupid guy? I said, Chris, let me tell you something, Chris. Before you came, it wasn't the comedians that put you on a pedestal. It was the workers. It was the people in wardrobe. It was the hairdressers. They were the ones that said, I can't get girls. I'm the fat, stupid guy. And so for 45 minutes to an hour,
you had to tell him how funny he was.
I had to tell him he was funny and what a great guy he was. And
what a shame.
It was god awful, and then that's when I started looking at things a little different, and then we had to read through, and I'm reading how many sketches he's the fat stupid guy,
right,
and all these special writers that are coming in that just wrote, here's another great fat stupid guy sketch.
Yeah.
Now, and the things I got to learn from him was he is a tremendous performer. On that show, he spit all over the girls.
Right.
Which was the funniest thing I ever seen. He had to do the motivational speaker.
Right.
So during dress, he'd do this thing, and you got to drink coffee. Right before you work out, you drink the coffee. He waited till we were on air.
Right.
And we're all in the room. He waited till we were live, and he takes the water, and he go. Right on Molly and Sherry, he goes. And they're drenched or they're completely gooed out.
Right.
I couldn't get my lines out. It was the funniest.
So he was a real talent.
He was a tremendous talent.
But he didn't recognize it.
Yeah, he was the funniest guy. And he would always make everybody laugh. Like, he'd just go out on the street and make everybody laugh. And you know what he could do? He could fall. Like, I remember we all tried this. We all went on the stage and tried this because he would fall into a breakaway table. And he could fall straight without putting his hands out.
Oh my gosh!
And if you try to do it, you always put your hands out. It's survival. Your survival instinct. And he didn't have that survival instinct.
When he'd go, David, turn around, and I go.
Who would say this?
Chris.
Chris, yeah.
And I go, if this is fat guy in a little coat, it's not funny anymore. I don't like it.
Oh, right.
And he goes,
right.
No, it's not. I'm working on new stuff. And I go. And I turn around, he had my little Levi jacket on. He goes, fat guy in little coat, don't you quit on it! He ripped it every time.
He would rip it,
Yeah,
right?
he'd go, and I go, you're going to rip it. And he goes, no. And then he goes, and he goes, it ripped. All I did was lean over. I go, yeah. He's ripped so many coats, and that's why we put it in the movie, because we didn't really have much to do in there. And he goes, what if I just sing fat guy in a little coat here? And we're like, sure. I mean, it was stuff in Tommy Boy that was funny to us that we just hoped was funny to people, and it worked out.
I remember my office was it was me and Rock shared an office.
You and Chris Rock, yeah.
And then Farley and
Farley,
Spade,
yeah.
and we were all we'd all go out to dinner. That was remember Wally and Joseph's, how much fun we'd have when we go out. And my favorite thing, the writing staff, we would take a host out to dinner. Do you remember Farley's order when we would go out?
Yeah. Chris Farley loved to eat.
But
to a degree that I've never seen since. I mean, by any human being.
Yeah, he literally, it was the funniest because the waiter would make the rounds of the, like 4 or 5 of us, and you'd give your order, and you'd feel Farley's energy, like, all right, come on, let me go already. And then he would order his food, and then he would say, you got the T-bone steak, yeah, okay, and do you have and he'd name like 6 things. You were like, wow, he's getting 6 things. And then he would say, okay, I'll take 2 of those.
What? Two of the whole thing.
Double down, and he'd bring out 2 steaks for him, and 2 salads and 2 sides of every side he ordered, and it was like the quietest Farley. He would just calmly just be like, and if you didn't want to say like, hey man, you didn't even want to make a joke about it. You're just like, all right, let him do his thing. Let him do his thing.
The last thing he did was work on a film that I was, a motion picture that I was in. Mm-hmm. So that's the last thing he ever did. So I thought he would be fine though, because he was a giant man with huge constitution, And he'd take like a steak and he'd put a big piece of butter on each bite of his steak.
Oh my gosh.
So everything about him was just giant. And so I thought, oh, this guy will never die. I was worried about Spade. Because he was a little frail guy, you know what I mean? Like Farley was this big, giant, yeah.
Aww.
So I never worried about him. But he never thought he was funny, which was bizarre because everybody always laughing whatever he said.
That was the sadness.
It was the best.
It was sad because he said like, I wish I was funny like Belushi. And I was like, Belushi wasn't funny. Like he was a good actor, but when you saw him interviewed, he was kind of a dark guy, melancholy, guy. Mm-hmm. Whereas Farley could make dumb people laugh, smart people laugh, people that didn't like him laugh.
Yeah, those guys were the tightest. David and Chris were so tight, and but I was tight with Chris those guys were like real best friends. I was another kind of best friend he had. When he'd get pissed at David Farley, he'd always come over to me and like he had a crazy temper, Farley. So he would just be stewing mad about nothing about him, but just like whatever. Like if a girl talked to him, he'd be like, "What is that girl?" Whatever. Like he'd get so angry that David was talking to a girl or something. He'd be like, "I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna punch him." And I'd say, "Hey, don't hit him." And he'd be like, "No, I gotta hit him, Adsy. I'm gonna crush him." And I would say, because it doesn't make any sense. If you knock him out, you're known as a jerk. And if you lose, my God, you're known as just a giant pussy. And he'd be like, you're right.
No, and then I would go, Adam, I think Chris is going to beat me up.
I know, you used to tell me that.
Were you really afraid that Chris would beat you up?
One time he left me the most horrifying voicemail, which I should have kept, about he's going to smash me with a baseball bat. And then I didn't come to work, and then I got back to him, and when I saw him, he goes, "Did you get my joke message?" I go, it didn't sound like you were kidding. He goes, "Don't tell Lauren."
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But if it makes you think I'm great, I'll take a fall or flatulate. Yes, I'm a clown, but I cry. I'm a clown.